Hey Star Trek fans, welcome back to Kertrats Productions and another week in Trek. Tons of Star Trek news this week as we come off of New York Comic-Con and the big Star Trek panel on Saturday. So without further ado, let's jump right in with the news.
I promised the Federation News Service a first-hand account of the battle.
You'll get it.
We should start with Star Trek Lower Decks, which debuts its fifth and final season in just a few short days on Paramount+. Fans who attended the Hall H panel got the opportunity to see the season premiere ahead of the rest of the world. Titled Dos Cerritos, the rest of us will get the chance to see it this Thursday, along with episode 2 of season 5. Paramount released a sneak preview clip from the episode as well to get us ready for Thursday's premiere. Link in the description. On stage with series creator and showrunner Mike McMahon were the big four stars, Tawny Newsome, Jack Quaid, Noel Wells, and Eugene Cordero. Apparently, this is the first time they've all been together to talk about Lower Decks. The discussion revealed not a lot about the fifth season. As you can imagine, they of course want to keep as much of it under wraps as possible. We did, however, get the reveal of the third poster for season 5, and this one is the Star Trek V homage we've all been waiting for. As I mentioned, the fifth season premieres on Paramount Plus this Thursday, October 24th. Section 31 also got its time to shine in New York this weekend with a panel featuring director Olatunde Osunsanmi, along with cast members Omari Hardwick, Casey Roll, and Robert Kaczynski. The biggest reveal in this section was the release date for the streaming film. Star Trek Section 31 will premiere on Paramount Plus on Friday, January 24th, 2025, making it the next Star Trek we will see after Lower Decks' fifth season. Also unveiled were a number of character posters for the film, starting with Michelle Yeoh as Philippa Georgiou. Next up is Omari Hardwick as Section 31 team leader Alok Zahar. Sam Richardson stars as Quasi, a Kamaloid like Martia from Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country. Casey Roll is next as Rachel Garrett, famous of course as the future captain of the Enterprise C. This bubblegum-blowing Deltan is Mel, played by Humberly Gonzalez. Sven Rygrock stars as Fuzz, this Vulcan or possibly Romulan character. And finally, Robert Kaczynski plays Zeph, a mechanically augmented operative who, as he himself points out, is not a Borg. Unfortunately, no new trailers were shown for Section 31, but I expect we'll get a full trailer sooner or later before the January release date. After Section 31, the next Trek we can expect to see on our screens is the long-awaited Season 3 of Strange New Worlds. I say long-awaited because of that cliffhanger we were left with at the end of Season 2. I don't know that the Gorn were expecting a writer and actor strike to happen during their attack, but it was quite nice of them to wait while Hollywood got all of that sorted. Thanks to the New York Comic-Con, we were treated to a sneak peek clip of Season 3, presumably the opening moments from the season, as it picks up right where the cliffhanger left off, and we get to see some fancy flying as the Enterprise engages the Gorn forces. The panel at NYCC featured showrunners Akiva Goldsman and Henry Alonzo Myers, as well as Ethan Peck and Carol Kane. The big surprise announcement during the panel was the casting of New Zealand actor Rhys Darby in the role of a legacy Star Trek character, guest starring at some point in Season 3. I'm a huge fan of Darby, having loved his performances in Flight of the Conchords and more recently in Our Flag Means Death. I'm very excited to have him join the Star Trek family, and I'm really curious about the role he might be playing. Does anybody out there have any theories? Please sound off in the comments. We don't yet have a set release date for Strange New Worlds, but we will see it on our screens sometime in 2025. And finally, Star Trek Starfleet Academy. The newest Star Trek television series has already been renewed for a second season, according to the announcement at the New York Comic-Con. Robert Picardo joined the panel to share the exciting news with the crowd, while the cast of the show joined via video from the production happening right now in Toronto. And another exciting announcement for the upcoming show, Emmy Award-winning actor Tatiana Maslany will be in Starfleet Academy's first season as a special guest star in a recurring role. I have to say, Starfleet Academy's cast is already incredibly impressive, with Holly Hunter, Paul Giamatti, and returning Trek actors Tig Notaro, Robert Picardo, Mary Wiseman, and Oded Fehr. Now, with the addition of Tatiana Maslany, who was amazing in Orphan Black and whom I loved in She-Hulk, I can't get over how great this cast is. I truly can't wait to see what they have planned for this series, and the Season 2 renewal by the powers that be speaks of the confidence they have with the show, which can only bode well. No release date as yet for Starfleet Academy's first season, but the smart money seems to be on a 2026 premiere date. We'll keep you posted as we learn more. Last week I shared the news about the Nelle company's plan to enter the arena of Star Trek action figures with a goal of tackling subjects that haven't previously been made in action figure form. Well, this past weekend at the New York Comic Con, they have released details of their first wave of figures, and they are even more obscure choices than I could have possibly predicted. The first wave is made up of 8 figures: Captain Edward Jellicoe from the TNG two-parter Chain of Command, Midshipman Peter Preston, Scotty's nephew from Star Trek II The Wrath of Khan, the Klingon Valkyries from just one scene in Star Trek III The Search for Spock, Captain Rachel Garrett of the Enterprise C from the TNG episode Yesterday's Enterprise, Tuvix, the blending of Tuvok and Neelix from the Voyager episode of the same name, Mirror Universe Captain Jonathan Archer from Enterprise's In a Mirror Darkly, Weyoun the Vorta from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and finally Captain Hikaru Sulu from Star Trek VI The Undiscovered Country. I am stoked about this release. The aim from Nelle is to have these below the $30 price point, and at that price point I myself may have to pick up a few of these. Who doesn't want a Ronnie Cox action figure, right? And for me, Captain Garrett is a must-have, as is Weyoun and Captain Sulu. For those of you who want to emulate Brad Boimler, remember that he had a Mirror Archer action figure on Lower Decks. Tuvix is also a great choice and might also be a must-have. As for the 2 from the films, I love the choices. Preston especially, due to the weight he has in the film. I think we all remember the scene where Scotty carries the injured Peter Preston to the bridge after Khan's attack. And Valkyries, easily the most obscure on this list. I don't know about that one, but she might be worth getting just for the novelty. I can really easily talk myself into picking up all of these. Now, Nelle is still soliciting ideas for future releases, and if these are any indication, literally nothing is off the table. No set release date yet, but the new product line will be launched sometime in 2025, according to Nelle.
I never really cared for science fiction. I guess I just didn't get it.
The biggest release this week is, of course, the first 2 episodes of Season 5 of Star Trek Lower Decks. Both episodes drop on Paramount Plus this Thursday, October 24th. We will be bringing you coverage of both episodes here on Kertrats Productions. Watch out for my review and thoughts on the episodes later this week. Out this Thursday, October 22nd, is a graphic novel being touted as an interactive experience akin to the old choose-your-own-adventure novels. Star Trek Lower Decks Warp Your Own Way by Ryan North with art by Chris Finoglio. Here's the description. Warp into the action with Star Trek's first ever interactive original graphic novel. Mariner just wants to have a normal day, but no matter what side of the bed she wakes up on, the world is ending. Literally, if she has coffee, Borg attack. If she has Raktajino, cue the Romulan boarding party. And in each scenario, Mariner and her friends end up dead, sometimes the ship is destroyed, and the day starts all over again. But by exploring the different paths, you, the reader, can discover things that Mariner can't. There are inconsistencies that don't make sense, putting aside the fact that Mariner's choice of drink each morning shouldn't affect which alien races attack the ship. Other facts of her world seem to change too. Something is definitely off. It's up to you to discover. Also out this week is issue number 20 of Star Trek Defiant. Part 4 of The Stars of Home is the focus of this issue. Here's the synopsis from IDW. The Romulans are descending on Antara, and Worf must lead his militia to victory against the warship Rankara. When the battle turns against the Antarans, Worf is forced into a duel with one of the best Romulan fighters ever seen, Malak. Has the battle already been lost, or will Malak finally meet the edge of Worf's bat'leth? Both of these releases are available from Amazon. I have links in the video description if you'd like to pick them up. And that's a wrap on a fairly big week in Trek. Thank you all for watching, and thanks, of course, to the Patreon supporters. Join me later this week for videos about the 2 new episodes of Lower Decks that drop on Thursday, and of course again next week for another week in Trek. Have a wonderful week in the meantime, and to everyone out there, take care of yourself, take care of others, and as always, live long, and prosper.